to wait, to have to listen to the screams of the sick and dying, was almost past endurance. But I knew those gentlemen officers. They saw us as twittering society do-gooders in search of a fevered brow to mop or a manly hand to hold, as a brave soldier slipped off to his maker. Bless our dear little hearts. They certainly did not want some well-connected female nuisance giving instructions to their orderlies. But I'd grown up with ministers of the realm and titled bigwigs sitting at our dinner table. I knew the little games, I knew the rules, and I knew how to win. So, we waited.
What is it?
Big battle. Incoming. Casualties. They're coming in. A lot. Sir John says...
Ladies,
can you...
follow me. The moment of victory. We were liberated, set free to do what we had trained for and had come to do. But after victory comes counterattack, in the shape of a system seemingly designed to create confusion. The officials in charge of supplies, I soon discovered, were masters of red tape, experts in obfuscation and delay. I was clearly marked out as the enemy. I needed allies, and I knew of only two sources I could rely on. The good Lord who never left me through all my trials, and his chief angel of mercy, my old friend Sidney Herbert. Dear Mr. Herbert, the supply officers fix their attention on the correctness of their bookkeeping as the primary object of life. Last week we had run out of bread, soap, carrots, poultices, and many other necessities. I went to the supply officer and asked him, was he expecting these things from England? No, he said. Are you doing anything about purchasing them? No, he said. Can they be had in the local town? If they can, I don't know how to get them, was his answer. So, Mr. Herbert, I went out myself and I bought them with my own money. In short, I am now a general dealer in socks, shirts, knives and forks,
the
tin
meat
baths,
is not
cabbage and
cooked.
carrots.
The water is not boiled. The cooking is done by drunken soldiers.
I must refer again to the deficiency of knives and forks here. The men tear their food like animals. Will you send us 1,000 mops, 3,000 tin plates? I go about making the orderlies empty huge tubs of human waste. The mortality is frightful. 30 in the last 24 hours in this Christmas Day, 1854. The state of the troops who return here is frostbitten, starved, ragged. No wonder they die in their hundreds. No washing has been performed for the men, neither of body linen nor of bed linen, except by ourselves. The consequences of this are fever, cholera. I shall endure. I shall not break my heart of disappointment at the total inefficiency of the hospital system here. I shall bear it willingly. I was called to do this work, and I will fight on for God and for the right, for they are worth fighting for. I now see clearly what must be done. If these conditions are happening here, they are happening elsewhere. I have written a plan for the systematic reorganization of these hospitals. Please make sure, Mr. Herbert, that it reaches the highest levels of the government. I have more and more reason to believe that these hospitals are the kingdom of hell, but I fervently believe they can be made into the kingdom of heaven.
Get some sleep. I don't know how your body keeps going.
Why doesn't this silly thing...
Here, let me...
Thank you, Reverend Ma. And my body is strong. It's... my spirit. I get so discouraged. How could even Jesus not be? How did he persist?
He was the love of God incarnate. He could love the good even in the worst.
Could Jesus love Sir John Hall when he forbids the men chloroform?
If Sir John Hall sins, I believe the sacrifice of Jesus can redeem it.
Sometimes I think I expect too much from God.
Well, he is God Almighty, Florence, and not your private secretary.
I suppose not. If he were, I'd say send more bedpans, Lord.
Can't get around it, Florence. God is in charge, not you.
Time for rounds.
They love you, you know. Those soldiers.
Then I'm most blessed. Spring came, and so did the government inspectors, sent out after Sidney Herbert spoke to the right people. And gradually we began to have something that looked more like a real hospital, staffed by nurses who were disciplined and professional. But those poor fellows who died in front of our eyes that first winter, they will not let me rest until I tell the world of all they suffered. Who is it?
Dr. Farr.
Just a moment. The wonderful Dr. Farr, a member of my unofficial war cabinet. He brings me such charming gifts. Sets of figures, all neatly tabulated.
Pardon me, do I intrude?
No, Dr. Farr, come in.
No work today, Miss Nightingale?
Yes, of course. I have to go out, but I'll be back in an hour. What have you got for me?
Some very interesting comparative death rates.
Excellent. Will you write up a précis for me, Dr. Farr? We'll look it over when I get back. Meanwhile, you can wish me luck.
Luck? Why? Where are you going?
Into battle. I know what you're thinking. Here comes that bothering woman again.
Oh, no, not at all. A delightful interlude in my all-too humdrum day.
Then, like all good interludes, I shall be brief. I come on behalf of the Crimean dead.
Ah, yes, the Royal Commission.
Which still has not met and has not even received your signature, Prime Minister.
Indeed, yes. Well, you must understand there are... How shall I put it?
I know, susceptibilities. Tell me, my lord, in all candour, do you mean to shelve it?
Shelve it?
To silence me, to shut me up?
Miss Nightingale, you must understand that this is the start of the grouse shooting season.
Yes, of course, those poor birds.
The point is, my dear, that all the important people are leaving town.
I understand. Then perhaps with so many people at leisure now would be a good time to publish my own narrative of the Crimean campaign?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we agreed your report would be confidential.
Indeed we did. And once it is fully commissioned and I hand it over to you, it will be. Until that happy moment, I believe I have complete liberty. And Mr. Russell of the Times has already expressed such an interest in a first-hand account of my Crimean experiences. Good day, my lord.
How in the battle?
I think we won.
Brilliant. By the way, you might want to look at my précis. The mortality rates in each regiment relative to the percentage.
Let me see.
Are you sure you're not too tired?
I'm never tired when I see a column of numbers. Are you sure these figures are correct?
Yes, of course.
Then we must go over them, every single one. Pass me that book and the figures you gave me yesterday. So there's no doubt.
Statistics tell us facts, not who is to blame for them.
I am to blame.
No, I'm sure you did your best.
It was not enough.
Dr. Farr. Florence, my dear young girl, do you realise what you just did? The papers for the Royal Commission will be signed tomorrow. I have it on the best authority. Well done, Flo. And guess who will be chairman? What? What?
My poor man, who endured so patiently. I've been such a bad mother to you. God. Why have you forsaken me?
Flo?
Guilty? How can you say that?
Because I am guilty as charged.
Nonsense, my dear. There's absolutely no proof.
No proof. Scutari, last January, mortality from disease, 576 per thousand. At the front, same 4 weeks, mortality from disease, only 17 per thousand. At Scutari, a 25% greater chance of death from diseases of the stomach and bowels.
Flo, please, please, these are just figures.
Just figures. I murdered those men.
Come, come. Everybody knows you saved lives. All that soup you made, all the knives and forks you procured.
Forks. That first winter, a nurse came to me and said, there are some beds the men won't lie in. They call them bad luck beds. Whoever goes to sleep in them doesn't wake up again. Nonsense, I said. Wash the sheets, dress the wounds, feed the men and they'll get better. It turned out they were right. The whole hospital was built over a lake of sewage.
Which, of course, was then cleaned out.
Too late.
Why?
Me. Ignorance. Exhaustion from my fights with doctors. Arrogance. I was God's own handmaid, wasn't I? So of course I knew best.
But you had absolutely no authority.
No, but I had Sidney Herbert in London at the centre of power. I wrote to him every week, and not once did I ask for help with sanitation. I asked for pillows. It took a government commission 4 months later to flush out the sewers. Do you know what they found when they dug out the channel that brought us our drinking water? A dead horse. And all the time I was saying, send your patients here, we'll take care of them, we're professionals, we're nurses. They should never have listened to me. They should have stayed away. Oh, my poor children.
It's over. You did your duty. Nothing more to be done now.
Yes, there is.
What?
Tell the truth. If that means I'm to be crucified with other murderers like Sir John Hall on either side of me, well, isn't that the traditional way?
And what exactly will that achieve? Flo! Flo, please, child, think carefully. Martyrs seldom leave anything behind them but their ashes.
Better a useless martyr than a cowardly deserter.